The dry heat of West Texas clung to everything that evening, making the air feel heavy and familiar, like an old blanket you can't shake off. Our family ranch house outside Lubbock was buzzing with relatives. The long wooden table groaning under plates of brisket, beans, and cornbread fresh from the smoker. Folding chairs were crammed in wherever they fit, and laughter echoed off the walls like it always did at these gatherings. Jake was holding court in the middle, his booming voice cutting through the chatter as he spun another yarn about his latest business venture, hands gesturing wildly like he was roping in the whole room. Everyone hung on his every word, leaning in as if getting closer to him made them part of something bigger. I slipped in quietly, taking a seat near the end, not quite at the kids' table, but close enough that it felt like a demotion. "Emily, pass the iced tea," Mom Linda called from the head of the table, her voice warm but distracted. I nodded, pouring myself a glass of water instead. No one noticed or asked why, they never did. Then came the toast. Linda stood, her sweet tea raised high. "To Jake," she said, her eyes shining with that preacher-like pride. "You've always been the rock of this family."
So,
leading us through thick and thin. The claps rippled around the table. I forced a smile, but my hands stayed in my lap. Smiling was easier than explaining the knot in my chest, the one that tightened every time they overlooked the truth. They took that smile for agreement,
for being the easy one.
But it was just a mask, holding space until I could find the words that had been building inside me for years. Earlier that day, I'd wired another $2,000 to Jake's account. "Rent for the ranch. With love from your daughter." I typed that in the memo every month, like clockwork. Never got a peep back, not a thank you, not even a quick emoji. Once, I'd suggested sending it straight to Mom and Dad's account. Linda had glanced up from stirring the chili on the stove and said, "Just go through Jake.
Honey,
It's simpler that way." Simpler. I sat there at the table, phone hidden under the napkin, scrolling through my transfer history. 36 wires. Each one a quiet act of love swallowed by silence. How does simpler turn into invisible without anyone batting an eye? I wondered, the thought gnawing at me like a thorn I couldn't pull out. As dinner wound down, Linda circled the table with a basket of those hand-folded napkins she made for special occasions, shaped like little stars. She placed one gently on Jake's plate,
kissed his cheek.
"Our guest of honor," she murmured. Mine was tossed casually beside my fork, like an afterthought. An aunt cooed. "That's real love right there." I twisted mine in my lap, feeling the fabric bunch up. Jake raised his glass again, toasting to family sticking together no matter what. I tuned him out, my mind screaming louder. It's the small things, a napkin, a skipped name, that whisper the biggest hurts. I didn't speak up, not out of fear, but calculation. This had been brewing for years, every offer of help funneled through Jake, every win pinned on his chest like a medal made from my sweat. I nodded along. But silence isn't surrender, it's strategy. Let them toast. I was listening, piecing it together. That night, sleep evaded me. I sat up with my laptop, combing through bank statements not in anger, but for clarity. This wasn't about starting a war, it was about seeing the battlefield for what it was. As dawn crept in, I wandered to the kitchen to help clear up. My plate sat untouched. Jake cracked a joke about how women like you can't juggle finances and family without dropping the ball. Laughter erupted. I smiled, but it was sharp now, edged with something new. The house fell quiet too soon, the kind of hush that meant someone was awake and tiptoeing around truths. I lay in my old room, staring at the faded posters on the wall, remnants of a girl I barely recognized. Voices floated from downstairs. Emily's not as put together as she seems on social media. Is she? An aunt chuckled. Linda didn't laugh. But she didn't correct her either. She's just
Different, she said softly. Different.
The word landed like a stone in my gut. I'm not different, I thought, fists clenching the sheets. I'm just not the version you wanted. I stepped outside into the crisp morning air, the chill biting my skin through my thin shirt. I needed space from the walls that felt like they were closing in. Pulling out my phone, I dialed Linda. She picked up. Hey.
Sweetie.
Jake's on the other line, let me call you back.
Click.
The screen stared back at me, blank as ever. She never called back. It wasn't new. Texts ignored. Voicemails vanishing into the void. I used to replay every message, dissecting my words for flaws.
Now.
It was just a pattern, clear and unforgiving. Patterns, once spotted, demand change. I slipped back inside, past the kitchen without a glance. The warmth from the coffee pot hit me, but it didn't melt the ice in my veins. I felt like a ghost in my own home. By mid-morning, Jake rolled up in his pickup, keys jangling, phone glued to his ear. Yeah. Loop me in next week. Tell Mike we're holding off till Q4. Linda hustled over with fresh biscuits. Sit down. Son, I made your favorites. Dad, Robert, chuckled at some quip about startups without a roadmap. And Jake grinned like he owned the world. He clapped my shoulder in passing. Still crunching numbers in that finance gig? I muttered, still faking importance. He didn't hear or chose not to. My phone buzzed, a friend checking in. I pocketed it. Not yet. After lunch, I found myself elbow-deep in soapy water, scrubbing plates I hadn't used. The water scalded, but I didn't turn it down. This wasn't about cleanliness, it was habit. Muscle memory from years of cleaning up messes that weren't mine. No one asked me to, it was expected. Invisible labor. The problem isn't what they do, I realized, staring at my reflection in the suds. It's what I've let them get away with. I dried the last dish, set it down with care, and caught my face in the hallway mirror. Clean on the outside, but inside, stained with unspoken resentments. Next time, I whispered to myself, I won't answer. It wasn't spite, it was the spark of self-respect flickering to life. Sunday dawned with that steady West Texas light filtering through the blinds. I laced up my boots and headed out before anyone stirred, craving the open space of the ranch trails. No breakfast, just the need to breathe. Kids on bikes zipped by, their mom jogging behind with coffee in hand, yelling about helmets. It tugged at me, not envy, but memory. The first time I sent money, it was unasked, rent was due. Jake forgot, so I covered it quietly. No thanks came. That silence stung worse than words. Back in my Austin apartment that afternoon, I skipped work emails and opened a folder for them. Transfers, receipts, notes, meds in October, taxes in November, repairs in December. All tagged with love. Met with nothing. One showed Jake forwarding my wire to Dad, covered for the month. My words, his credit. How many times had I given, only to watch him claim the glory? It crept up slowly, turning help into duty, credit stolen bit by bit. No theft outright, I handed it over, but they pocketed the praise. The sky blushed pink as I drove back to the ranch for a small neighbor shindig. Linda was showing off the framed photos on the wall, pointing like a tour guide. One caught my eye, Dad's retirement bash. I'd set the timer, rushed in, only to be cropped out. Why this version? I asked lightly. You looked tired, she said without missing a beat. They always chose the story that fit them. Alone on the couch later, staring at my barely visible shoulder in the frame, I renamed the folder. For me. The camera I'd bought with my bonus? Gifted to Dad. Barely used. Hope it's got zoom, he'd said. Ungrateful?
No.
Just indifferent. My face erased from the wall, like I'd never been there. I didn't cry, I documented. Dinner was subdued. Voices clinking like distant wind chimes. Linda unveiled a wrapped box. Look what Jake got us. It just arrived. The paper was mine. The digital photo frame I'd ordered months ago. Preloaded with memories. Signed from him. He smiled. Unflinching. Something cracked in me, not broken, but awake. That evening, I overheard Linda on the phone, her voice carrying that gossipy lilt she saved for old friends. Jake's the one holding us all together. I don't know where we'd be without him.
Pause. Laugh.
Then, Emily? She's just
There.
got her own thing going.
Just there.
Not vital. Not shining, just a background figure. I didn't barge in. I let the words sear. Acid etching truth into my soul. You can fight hate, but indifference? It's an eraser, wiping you clean without a trace. Outside on the porch, Jake scrolled his phone, oblivious. I sat beside him, not touching. Do you even see what you're doing? Taking credit for my help. He shrugged. What's the diff? It's all family. That casual dismissal hit like a gut punch. Through the window, the photos mocked me, Jake center stage. Me on the edges or gone. They'd rewritten me into a footnote. I didn't slam doors or shout farewells. Instead, I gathered fragments. A book I'd gifted Dad. Unread. A scarf for Linda. Unworn. The frame. Unplugged silently. Subtle. But inside. A storm brewed. I slipped a card into the empty box. Remember, the life you love was built on support you never questioned. Sleep fled that night. Under the kitchen's humming light, I pulled a worn folder from my bag, the scanned household ledger I digitized for Linda years ago. She stuck to paper. But there it was. Jake, $0. Emily will cover eventually. A line item. Not a daughter. Numbness spread in my chest, like pins and needles in my heart. I'm a debit. Not a gift, an obligation assumed because I'm steady. Not spectacular. Mondays sliced through the blinds. Sharp and unrelenting. I'd barely moved all night. Body stiff, but mind racing. Linda's friend Nancy dropped by with a dish. Spotted me in my hoodie. Uncombed.
Oh.
You the housekeeper? I froze. Linda chuckled. Redirected without correction. Nancy apologized later. Flustered. Don't sweat it, I said,
Smiling.
but inside, erasure felt normalized. A quiet violence. Back in Austin, my apartment shrank around me, echoing the invisibility. I thought of that first bill I paid. Landlord called. Jake forgot. I stepped in anonymously. Silence followed. Then expectation. Safer than rejection. I told myself. Pretend it's love when no one speaks. An email from a friend pinged. You okay? I stared. Then typed back fragments of truth. Maybe exhaustion. Maybe clarity. I jotted notes. Tomorrow, I speak what I've swallowed. Final. Like crossing a threshold. Coffee in hand. Linda slid an envelope across the counter. Before you head out, sign this. Jake will handle the ranch locally. I opened it. Legal pages. My name struck through. Jake's bolded. Not an update, a transfer of rights.
Contact.
Everything tying me to the property. Robert sipped coffee. Unfazed. Makes sense with you in the city, Linda said. Convenience?
No. Control.
Erased because unneeded. I snapped a photo under the table. Signed, not agreement, but strategy. Documentation over drama. Lunch prep hummed. Linda chirped about a church photo. Just the boys, Jake and Robert. She handed me her phone. Jake quipped. Don't shake.
Cease.
Robert. She always chops heads. They laughed. I clicked steady, but inside. The paperwork burned, my name deleted like dust. I'm the frame holder. Never framed. In the bathroom.
Door locked.
I saved the photo. Proof. Sent to my friend. This place was never mine. No reply needed. Surveying the living room, smells. Sounds. Frames without me, I knew. Reason enough to step back. My suitcase lingered, half-sipped by the door. Reluctant as me. Reheated coffee tasted bitter. An email from my friend arrived. See this. Forwarded from Linda to a cousin. Emily's fine. We pin hopes on Jake. Read thrice. It buckled me, not shock. But accumulated weight. Misused. Not misunderstood. Girls like her don't need much stable.
Quiet.
Boys need lifting. Visionary Jake. Reliable me. The boat patcher. Not the captain. Polite erasure. Sanitized. I forwarded to myself. Exhibit A. Silence watched back as I sat. Room heavy. Cleaning the kitchen drawer. I found a birthday card, my envelope. My skipped ink. Inside, Jake's scrawl. Happy birthday. Love, Jake.
Swapped.
He didn't steal applause. He scrubbed my existence. Photo to friend. Not mine. Response. That's his hand. Edits ran deep, erasing me from the narrative.
No te ars. Norai.
I created evidence. PDFs. Screenshots. Emails. GIFs. Fixes. Organized. Not vindictive. Their story thrived on my quiet. Let's test it under light. Midnight passed. Back aching. Eyes dry. Hands firm. Cursor blinked. I whispered. You erased the wrong sister. Saturday's family unity. Bash dripped irony. Invites printed. Walls plastered with Jake. Football.
Grat.
Milestones. One blurry me in back. Seated in corner. I observed delusion. Jake toasted. Some stepped up. Held us together. Linda. Couldn't do without him. Room approved. My friend eyed me, permission. Since we're honoring the glue, I said. Standing firm. Phone to TV. Bank history. Wires. Memos, my money. His credit. You clapped for him, I paid. Silence thickened. Linda. You never said. Me. You never asked. Emails showed. Jake forwarding mine as his. He managed my silence. No claps now. I sat near the head. Unchallenged. Can't rewrite while I'm here to correct. Guest room reeked of cedar. Lavender faded. I lay suspended post on. Kitchen voices forced chair below. Barefoot creaks announce me. Nods. Averted eyes. Coffee poured. Linda brushed past wordless. Robert half smiled. Sticky note. You did the unexpected. Own it. We sat. Clinks heavy. Linda. Girls like you are tough, don't need much. Cousin. Doesn't mean erasure. Robert. Boys carry the name. Me. Names carried by silent mouths.
Freeze.
No fight, just weighted air. A niece watched. Smiled small. I nodded, seed planted. Outside. Phone check. Facebook group removed. New name, Carter Legacy. Photo, Jake. Robert torch passing. Texted Jake. Removed. Mistake checking. Never did. Screenshot to friend. Not group stage. They craved old narrative useful me. Absent. Packed methodically. Paused at photo wall. Absent still. Price paid knowingly. Envelope left. Transfer history. Receipts ignored. Door opened, Linda behind. She chose.
Me.
Low. No, I finally did. The award plaque felt light in my grasp, but it carried the weight of unseen efforts. On stage at the company gala in Austin, I smiled through flashes and applause. Emily Carter, Leadership in Crisis. Earned. Not gifted. Coworkers cheered, mentors nodded. But empty seats echoed loudest, Linda and Robert absent despite invites. Jake's got a thing, her reply. Always something better. Back home. Heels off. Sweatshirt on. Inbox pinged. Bank notice. Collections. My name as guarantor on unknown credit. Hand trembling. Voice steady. Call confirmed. Co-signed by you, primary. Jake Carter. Years back. That lease update. Signed in trust. They didn't take my name. They monetized it. Next day. Lawyer's office. Folder of proofs. Fraud.
Plain, she said.
Charges possible.
No rebanja y replia.
Just removal. Cease and desist. Dispute done. Floor felt mine again. Cousin called. Heads up. Jake says you're ruining him. Forwarded debt PDF. Hung up. Truth documents itself. New subfolder. Debt deception. Monday. Office early. Plaque on wall. Inspire board. Stood long, not pride. Affirmation. They keep the name, I build my own. Emotions surged heavier now. A tide pulling at my core. Every ignored wire replayed. Not as loss, but lesson half learned. Why did I stay silent? Fear of shattering the fragile family.
Inside.
Conflict raged. Love twisted into resentment. Duty into deception. I paced my apartment, mind a whirlwind. Had I enabled this? By giving without demanding recognition, I'd handed them the eraser. But no more. Self-worth isn't begged, it's claimed. A week later, the ranch called me back for a talk. Dust swirled on the drive, mirroring my turmoil. Linda met me at the door, eyes wary. We need to clear the air. Inside, Jake lounged, Robert silent. This fraud thing, it's a misunderstanding, Jake started. Family helps family. My heart pounded. But voice even. Help? Or exploitation? I laid out prints, the cosign. Draws on the line. Used for his ventures, not the ranch. Linda gasped softly. We thought. You agreed. Blind trust, I said. Throat tight. Inner voice screamed. They saw you as a wallet, not a woman with dreams. Jake shifted. Defensive. You always act like the martyr. That stung. Unlocking floods. Martyr? I sent love in dollars. Watched you parade as savior. Emotions crashed. Betrayal's sharp edge. Sorrow's deep ache. Robert finally spoke. We favored him. Boys carry on. Carry what? Lies. I countered. Voice cracking. Conflict peaked internally, wanting to lash out, yet yearning for understanding. I gave because I cared. You took because it was easy. We sat in heavy silence, my mind racing through years of sidelined feelings. Why him always? The golden child. While I faded. Not jealousy, justice denied. Linda reached out. We didn't see. You chose not to, I whispered. tears threatening. But I held firm, the drama unfolding in my soul, from invisible to undeniable. As sun dipped, Jake admitted partial. I should have said thanks. Too little, but a crack. I didn't forgive instantly, wounds deep, but saw humanity in his deflection, his own insecurities masked as bravado. We all erred, I said softly. Driving away, emotions roar. I pondered, family isn't blind loyalty, it's honest reckoning. Back in Austin, a package arrived, unmarked. Inside, old photo album. Me front and center in forgotten snaps. Note from Linda, we missed these.
No apology.
But acknowledgement. Heart twisted, drama of reconciliation stirring. Internally, I battled. Accept?
Or guard. Chose tentative bridge.
Work thrived, promotion buzzed. But family shadows lingered, intensifying inner turmoil. A call from Jake. Bank froze the line. You're doing? Protection, I replied. His anger flared. You're tearing us apart. Mine boiled. You started by using me. Hang up. But regret nipped. Had I gone too far? No. Boundaries aren't destruction. Cousin messaged support. Proud of you. Bolstered. Yet doubt crept. Am I the villain now? Drama amplified. Emotions layering, hurt. Anger. Faint hope. Evening walk under Texas stars. Mind stormed. Years of suppression erupting. Why endure erasure? For love's illusion? Real love sees. Values. Lesson emerging lightly. Speak truths early. Less silence breeds deceit. Ranch visit unplanned, pulled by unresolved pull. Linda alone. Weary. Missed you. Tears shared. Stories unpacked. We leaned on Jake, habit. My confession. I gave to feel needed. Embrace.
Cathartic.
Emotions peaked. Raw and real. Jake arrived. Tense. Sorry for everything. Not full, but sincere. We talked hours. Unveiling pains, his pressure as air, my overshadowing. Understanding dawned, human flaws binding us. Departure lighter. Let's rebuild honestly. Article of faith. Not guarantee. Inner peace flickered, drama resolving into growth. Emotions now a maelstrom. Heavier with each revelation. I dove deeper into the legal tangle. Lawyer updated. Dispute filed. Your name cleared soon. Relief mixed with rage's residue. How dare they commodify trust? Internally, conflict intensified. Vengeance tempted. But humanity whispered restraint. Family bonds, frayed yet resilient, pulled at my heartstrings like a dramatic symphony building to crescendo. A surprise audit notice from the bank heightened the stakes. Jake's draws flagged as irregular. He texted furiously. This your revenge?
Oh, consequenza, iraplia.
Fingers trembling.
Inside.
Turmoil raged. Part of me ached for his downfall. Another yearned for redemption. Drama thickened. My soul a battlefield of empathy and equity. Cousins rallied. Some siding with Jake. Blood thicker than water. Others, truth matters. Divisions stung. Amplifying isolation's echo. Why me as scapegoat? Silent giver turned vocal avenger. Nights sleepless. Mind replaying betrayals. Cropped photos. Stolen credits. Forged signs. Emotions surged, betrayals fire. Sorrows flood. Lawyer meeting. Evidence solid. Could sue for damages.
No, insist.
Just freedom. But doubt gnawed. Am I too soft? Inner voice. Mercy isn't weakness. It's wisdom. Ranch confrontation loomed. I drove. Heart pounding. Linda opened door. Eyes red. We need to talk, really. Robert nodded gravely. Jake paced. You win. Line closed. Debt's on me. His admission cracked defenses. I panicked. Used your name. Saw the vulnerability shown, his drama mirroring mine, fear of failure driving deceit. Tears flowed. Linda confessed. We enabled him. Ignored you. Robert. Pride blinded us. My turn. I hid hurts to keep peace.
Catharsis raw.
Emotions peaking in shared confessions. Not absolution, but aperture to healing. We pored over ledgers together. My contributions tallied finally. We owe you, Jake said. More than money. Gesture. Repayment plan drafted legally.
Fair.
Drama shifted from conflict to collaboration. Driving home. Lighter yet laden with reflection. Lesson crystallized gently. Families falter. But open hearts mend. Humanity over retribution. Work awards ceremony redux. Family attended this time. Applause genuine. Their presence mended old wounds. Post-event dinner. Toast to all. Emotions overwhelming. Joy tempered by past pains. But hopeful. Jake's venture failed. He sought advice. I guided. Not grudgingly. Bond strengthened through humility. Holiday gathering. Inclusive photos. My place central. Laughter authentic. Inner peace profound. Drama resolved. Lessons learned lightly. Value voiced. Love reciprocal. The legal web tightened. Emotions a vortex pulling deeper. Bank called. Fraud investigation underway. Jake's panic texts. Help fix this. Irony bitter. Now he needed me visible. Internally. Storm raged. Schadenfreude clashed with sibling sympathy. Drama escalated. Heart torn between justice and kinship. Family meeting via video. Accusations flew. You exposed us. Linda cried. You hid truths. I countered. Robert mediated. Enough blame. Breakthrough. Admissions flowed. Jake. Pressure crushed me. Took shortcuts. Linda. We favored unfairly. My vulnerability. Felt unloved and less useful. Tears bridged gaps. Emotions rawer than ever. Settlement. Mediated agreement. Debts reassigned. Apologies formalized. Not victory, but validation. Humanity prevailed over litigation. Cousin outreach. Reconciliation ripples. Party lines softened. Understanding grew. My role shifted from shadow to light. Nights reflective. Why this path? Growth through pain. Lesson. Communication prevents craters. Promotion secured. Celebrated with family. Jake's toast. To Emily, the real rock. Emotions crested. Redemption's sweet drama. Venture collaboration. Jake and I partnered ethically. Success shared. Bonds reforged. Final ranch visit. Album updated. Me included. Laughter. Lessons light. Family thrives on truth. Not illusion. Emotions at zenith. A crescendo of catharsis and closure. Post-settlement. Silence from ranch. Then invite. Come home. Drive fraught with anticipation. Heart heavy with hope's fragility.
Arrival, embrasse tentative.
Eyes searching. We've reflected, Linda said. Jake. I was wrong fully. Robert. Proud of you both. Dinner dialogue deep. Shared stories. Uncovered pains. My confession. Silence was my shield. Now. Voice my strength. Theirs. Regrets voiced. Drama peaked in mutual forgiveness, not erasure, but evolution. Legal loose ends tied. Documents amended. My name restored where due. No charges. Instead, family counseling suggested. We attended. Unpacking generations of bias. Emotions poured, generational drama unveiled, healed lightly. Work-life balanced, family visits frequent, equitable. Jake's new job, honest hustle. My guidance accepted gratefully. Holiday, inclusive toast. To us all. Lesson internalized. Adversity forges stronger ties when met with humanity. Reflection, path from invisibility to integral, worth the storm. Article ends on uplift. Families redeem through empathy. Communication key. The climax of emotions crashed like a West Texas thunderstorm. Cleansing yet chaotic. After the mediated agreement, a week of radio silence from the ranch left me in limbo, heart aching with unresolved tension. Then, the text from Linda. Please come home. We're ready to listen. The drive was a gauntlet of inner monologue. Doubts whispering, is this genuine? Or another facade? Arrival brought tentative hugs, eyes brimming with unsaid words. Jake met my gaze squarely. I was blind, selfish. Your contributions built this place. I stole the spotlight because I feared my own dimness. Linda's voice broke. We saw you as the steady one, but that was our excuse to lean too hard without looking. Robert, ever stoic, added, I failed as a father by not seeing equally. The admissions unlocked floods within me, years of suppressed grief surging forth. I gave from love, but it turned to resentment when ignored. I felt like a ghost in my own story. We sat around the old table, not for a meal, but for mending. Stories spilled, my childhood overshadowed by Jake's potential, their cultural biases favoring the son as heir in this Western tradition. Emotions raw, voices cracking, drama at its peak. A family unmasking. I shared the pain of cropped photos, stolen credits, the fraud's betrayal. They listened, really listened, tears mingling. Weary right now, Jake said. Practical steps, joint bank review, repayments scheduled legally, fair and transparent. No more assumptions, communication mandated. Family therapy followed. A neutral space where generational patterns emerged, Robert's own favored brother history repeating. Sessions intense. Emotions escalating. Anger vented. Sorrows shared. Laughter eventual. Humanity shone through flaws. We were all broken. Seeking whole. Back in Austin. Work soared, promotion to lead. Plaque now symbol of self-earned glory. Family attended the ceremony. Cheers loudest from them. Post-event. Ranch dinner. Toasts inclusive. Jake raised glass. To Emily, the heart we almost lost. My response. To us, learning together. Lesson light but profound. Silence breeds shadows. Truth illuminates bonds. Jake's ventures shifted. Ethical. Collaborative. He sought my input. I gave freely. Bond deepening. Visits reciprocal. Austin brunches. Ranch rides.
No perfection,
but progress. From erasure to embrace. The journey taught gently, families falter. But with empathy, they flourish. Communication the key. Humanity the glue.
Drama resolved.
Peace prevails.